Hello and welcome back to another episode of Movies and Us. I'm Marcus.
And I'm TJ.
And this is the movie review show that reviews genre movies from beginning sometimes. So today, we're on episode 142. And we're back at it, guys. We're back at reviewing noirs, I guess. Whatever this one classified. This is supposed to be a film noir movie.
We'll get to the classification of this movie in a moment.
And I'm going to stand by it as a film noir movie. We're reviewing the 1941 release of the Maltese Falcon. Maltese Falcon. Maltese. Say it again.
Maltese.
I always call it Maltese. I just over enunciate. Maltese. The Maltese Falcon. You say it.
Maltese Falcon.
That's probably why I always. Okay. This movie came out in the United States October 18th, 1941, but it was debuted in New York City, October 3rd, 1941. Directed by John Huston and screenplay by John Huston. It's based off of a novel.
I'll get to that.
Okay, Maltese Falcon by Dashiell.
Because that's not technically true. So I'll get to that in the behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I know it's based off all this. Okay. What's that name? Dashiell Hammett? Sure. Starring Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade, Mary Astor as Ruth, Wonder Lady, Bridget.
Wonderly.
As Ruth Wonderly. Gladys George as Eva Archer.
Ruth Wonderly and Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah, I don't like saying all that. I saw that last name. Like,
if you're gonna say what they're playing as instead of just the names, you gotta say everything.
Do I do, TJ?
Yeah.
Fine. Peter Lorre as Joel Cairo. Joel. Barton McLean as Lieutenant Dundee. Dean Patrick as
Effie.
That's actually a good name.
Effie Perrine.
Effie. That's a cute name, actually. I would name my daughter that. Effie. No, that's like a cat name. I can make cat that. Sidney Greenstreet as Casper Gutman. Ward Bond as Detective Tom Polhus.
Yeah.
Jerome Cowan,
or it could be Cowan, but it's probably Cohen.
Yeah. As Miles Archer. Alicia Cook Jr. as Wilmer Cook. James Burke as Luke, also hotel detective. Murray Alper as Frank Richmond, the taxi driver. John Hamilton as District Attorney Brian. And Walter Hudson as... Is that the director? No, it's not. Okay. Walter Hudson as Captain Jacoby.
Going through those credits, I just realized there was a giant plot hole in this movie that was never solved.
Oh, well, okay, because I barely pay attention to movies, so you gotta catch me into that.
It just struck me right now. I didn't think of it when I was watching the movie, but okay.
Well, you want to talk about it now? You want to hold on for that later?
We can wait.
Okay. What do we get into next, I guess?
It varies. Whatever you want to dive into next.
Let's get the box office out the way, because I feel like we have a lot behind the scenes shit to talk about. So the box office, this movie, fucking budget was around $375,000, I guess, and it made $1.8 million. Which I guess is a lot back then, but
yeah.
As I told TG off mic, there's a lot of box offices that don't correlate with each other with old films and shit like that. So I'm going to just go with the numbers.com as I did last week, or last time we did an old movie. So the numbers.com says for 1941, the top 10. This is not even on a top 10. Although it should be. Let's say this was... See, this is weird. Okay, I'll just say a top 3. How about that? The top 3 for 1941. Number 3 is Suspicion.
Of what?
This is called Suspicion. Hold on, I can even click on it. Let me click on it and open it up, read it to you. Suspicion, 1941. That stars Cary Grant and Joanne Fontaine. Suspicion is a shy young heiress marries a charming gentleman, and Sue begins to suspect he's planning to murder her. Oh, that sounds interesting.
It won't be.
Get out of my head, TJ. I was just going to say that, goddammit. That sounds promising, though, man. It hurts.
Not with the Hays Code.
Yeah, I won't get into that, I guess. At number 2, we have Gone with the Wind. We all know what Gone with the Wind is, right?
Yeah.
Is that based off a book? Right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's based off a book, or a book series, at least.
It's based on a book.
Okay.
I think it's a Jane Austen book, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. I know it's someone famous, clearly, because...
No. Jane Austen was Pride and Prejudice. Maybe she did Gone with the Wind. Who wrote Gone with the Wind? Margaret Mitchell was the author of Gone with the Wind.
Or is it the writer of this movie? Because there's a few writers. You got Margaret Mitchell, Sidney Howard, and Oliver H.P.
Margaret Mitchell was the author of Gone in the Wind, one of the most popular books of all time. The novel was published in 1936 and sold more than 1 million copies in the first 6 months. A phenomenal feat considering it was the Great Depression era.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, if you guys don't know what that movie is, go watch it. So I'm not going to watch it or talk about it. Number 1, we have Sergeant York, a Tennessee farmer and marksman is drafted into World War One and struggles with his pacifist inclinations.
Why did we do the top 3 if this movie's not in the top 3?
Becoming one of the most celebrated war heroes, because I didn't feel like trying to find out where that movie was listed at. It's like I said, each box office is different. I did this box office list.
So just pick one and just put the number. Tell me what number it is.
It would be at number 10 on this list.
Okay.
Over Citizen. I'd be at number 9 on this list over Citizen Kane.
Okay.
And then it would be this movie that we just watched, Maltese Falcon. Then it'd be number 8 be Tobacco Road. Number 7 would be Honky Tonk. I'm not going into the description of these. Number 6 would be Dumbo. Number 5 would be...
I just wanted to know what this one was, because that's what we usually do. And apparently, according to the behind the scenes thing, this movie was very successful.
Sure it was, DJ. No, yeah. I mean, hey, the AFI lists this movie as usually like the top 5, number 1 best movies of all time.
All right.
Yeah, that's behind the scenes. Or that's behind us. That's the box office. Let's do some behind the scenes, DJ. What you got?
All right. So this movie is...
Oh, hold on. The runtime was 101 minutes. It's an hour 41. Okay, there you go.
So this movie... Oh, okay. No. See, that doesn't make sense. So it says this novel was serialized in 5 parts in a thing called Black Master in 1929 and 1930 before being published in book form in 1930.
Yeah.
So it was a serial before it was a book.
Yes.
Which threw me off. Anyway, it was quickly bought by Warner Brothers, and they made it a 1930s adaptation of it.
Oh, the first time around?
Yeah, so they actually...
Yes.
So this is technically... This is actually a remake, the one we're covering.
Yeah.
And that film, the film closely followed the novel, which included references to homosexuality and a scene in which Sam Spade stripped Search Wonderleaf looking for that $1,000 bill.
We'll probably get into it, but we were reading about this in the Hays Code stuff, and that movie sounds more interesting than this one.
Yeah, but, that stuff was taken out because of the garbage Hays Code that they implemented. Houston, the writer of the movie, removed all references to sex that the Hays Code had deemed unacceptable. And they also wanted him not to show excessive drinking, but he fought that, saying it would ruin the character if he didn't drink.
Did he drink in this?
Yeah, he drank. There was liquor in almost every scene.
Is there really?
Yeah, almost.
Wow, did we watch the same thing?
Yeah, every time they go into a new scene, they hand each other drinks.
Man, I just didn't realize it. Really?
In fact, there's a whole plot point about him getting drugged by drinks.
Did we watch the same movie?
The Maltese Falcon?
Oh, man, I don't recall him drinking at all in this damn movie.
Starring Humphrey Bogart, right?
Yeah. That's his name earlier? Yeah. Yeah, it's just, wow.
Yeah, the Gutman spikes his drink at one time and he passes out.
Yes. But
like in almost every scene, they're drinking.
Oh no, I don't get that at all. I've been seeing a lot of smoking. I'm skipping through it right now. He has not once held a drink in his hand. So I'm coming at this again with the 2020 brain, and so I'm thinking the film noir search is like always drinking and smoking. So it's always
it's not like that, but like
that's what I'm thinking. So
it's not like he's pulling a flask from his jacket.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Draw these demons out, man.
But every time there's a social scene and they're sitting down, they hand him a glass of alcohol and they hand him a cigarette.
Maybe because I thought that alcohol was water, so I didn't think twice about it.
No, it was all alcohol.
Huh, that's really news to me, man. I swear I watched this film, so okay. Anyway, continue, I'm sorry.
So, the most interesting thing about this I found was that the original writer, Hammett, who did the novel, had once worked as a private detective for the Pinkerton Detective Agency.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and in fact, he actually based the character of Gutman on a man named Maundy Gregory.
Oh, that's a great name.
Who was an overweight British detective entrepreneur who was involved in many sophisticated endeavors and capers, including a search for a long-lost treasure, like the Jeweled Falcon.
That's pretty cool.
So it was based on a real person. And Joel Cairo was based on a criminal who Hammett had arrested for forgery in Pasco, Washington in 1920.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I found that the real life interest in people more interested in the story, but whatever.
You want to know why you found them more interesting?
Why?
There's no Hays Code restricting them being people.
Yeah, that's true. Apparently Hammett, Houston, this is like his, I don't know if it was his, yeah, it was his directorial debut.
Yes.
And he was meticulous doing like a shot for shot setup in his script so that when he went to make it, it flowed like it flowed easily without any intrusion. So he filmed it very quickly.
This makes sense.
This movie, so apparently Humphrey Bogart was not the first choice for this movie. The role was originally offered to George Raft.
Ooh, that's a name.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was a big actor at the time.
Yeah.
But Raft rejected the role because he did not want to work with an inexperienced director.
That's fair. That's valid, I guess.
It just shows the arrogance of these movie stars back then.
Oh, still now I would feel.
Yeah, I guess, but it's not as...
I would say still the thing. Like, if you get like some indie director now who gets like a decent sized budget for their first big film, quote unquote big film, that's not Marvel but still a big film, still be hard to persuade Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get someone who makes millions of dollars to work on something, but I don't think that's because of their ego. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is probably ego, but I think it's more like because I'm not working for less than I'm worth.
Yeah, so you can say that's ego. You can say it's like, I don't want to waste my time with this because I don't know how that person's not established enough for me to like not waste my time, but essentially put my time into their film. Like, I may be the face and have the acting chops they need, but I'm not going to put my stuff into it. So you could conflate that with ego, I'd say.
I guess. I don't know. It's just, I feel like everything I read about these old time things, that just the actors just felt more egotistical and arrogant, like they were in the world, essentially.
But they were also told that too, I guess. Like, nowadays, they're sold to us as being part of the people, even though they're still not, because they're still...
Well, no, I think it's more along the lines that they were... Like, these days movie stars are like, you know, people idolize them and stuff like that, but it feels like the movie stars back then were treated like royalty.
Yes, they were part of like, oh, I'm with MGM, so I'm the face of the MGM, so I gotta be a certain way, I gotta be held to a certain standard, so there's definitely that. And
anyway,
like said, everyone...
But I didn't finish my sentence.
My bad. Yeah, how to get that? I'm sorry.
Raft rejected the role because he did not want to work with an inexperienced director, and he had a stipulation in his contract saying he didn't have to do remakes.
I love that. I love that so much. Man, I would so have that as... That is like the best stipulation in a contract I've ever heard, DJ.
But it's like, I don't know. I think remakes are good, so...
They are. I'm not 100% against them, but as an actor, like, I don't want to do retelling.
I think there needs to be a significant period of time between remakes. Like, I think movies should be updated for
modern audiences.
Like, I would like to see a Maltese Falcon made today.
Yes.
With the plot that they have.
Yes.
Because it would be so much more interesting.
I 100% agree.
So,
I was thinking the same thing while I was watching this movie. Like, man, if they did this today, wow, I would love this. Well, like this one came out, actually 10 years after the first one? Just under 10 years?
True.
So I get why he doesn't want to do remakes.
Right. I mean,
and especially back then when they're not so, or maybe they were probably prevalent as they are.
But anyway, Raft chose instead to make a comedy drama called Manpower, which was Lesser Success. This was one of the only roles Raft had turned down that ended up being a classic.
Oh, wow.
So, one of his biggest mistakes, essentially.
Manpower.
Humphrey Bogart was apparently friend with Houston's, and they ended up becoming their like lifelong friends from that. There was a bunch of other people considered for other roles, but the only other really interesting one was they're having trouble casting Gutman. So Houston screen tested the stage actor Sidney Greenstreet on the suggestion of his producer. Greenstreet was 61 and weighed between 280 and 350 pounds at the time, and he had never appeared in film before. However, he did manage to impress Houston with his sheer size, distinctive abrasive laugh, and bulbous eyes. So that's how he got that.
Nice.
This movie has apparently got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, just to give that context.
Mm-hmm.
It was nominated for 3 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, which is Sidney Greenstreet, and for Best Adapted Screenplay. The movie was so successful that Warner Brothers wanted to do a sequel almost immediately. But After this, Houston and Bogart were in high demand, and they could not come to agreement on salary, so the plans were dropped. This movie launched the career of Houston, Bogart, and Greenstreet. So
Really?
yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
So this was like Bogart's first big film.
Huh.
And it helped revitalize the career of Astor. So apparently she was a popular actress beforehand, and then this movie helped her spike back up. This film was also one of the first films to be introduced into the National Film Registry.
Yes.
For being culturally, historical, and aesthetically significant in the first year of voting. And then this is like, I don't know why this is noted and why this matters and everything, but everybody usually, this is one of Robert Ebert's added to his greatest movies list, okay?
Well, it's Robert Ebert, that's why.
Yeah, I know, but like...
This movie is so acclaimed by so many people. And I knew this going in. This movie was held to such high standards by so many institutions. And goddamn, I want to say this movie just because this movie, but I get it.
All right, now let's get into the thing that really
hurt.
No, that the reason why we watched this movie.
Oh, why do we watch this movie, TJ?
Because this was supposed to be a film noir. Now, I will say this is technically claimed to be the first film noir.
Yeah.
So I'll give it some leeway because some of the tropes are there.
I think this whole movie's tropes, TJ.
It's pretty bad. Like things, I was calling things that were going to happen as they were happening.
Yes.
So, like the tropes, I guess this started a lot of the film noir tropes, but I don't think it quite makes it there.
I would say this is more of a murder mystery.
Yeah, it's more of a murder mystery. It's not quite a noir. All right, so we're getting closer, but I don't think we quite did it.
What the fuck's a noir then, TJ?
I don't know. I don't think it exists.
It has to. Did I have one? I don't know. Is it Sin City? Is that a noir? I don't know.
I think we have to find we're gonna have to find another movie after that's just film noir that is not this one, like somewhere in the 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s.
Yeah, because I am just like, I'm truly stumped at this point.
Because, like, I get why people say this is the start of film noirs, because the film noir tropes are there, but there's elements missing that it doesn't, like, stick with film noir.
Yes.
Like, I've seen film noir before in comic books.
Yeah, I've seen it on TV. I've seen it all across medium besides movies, apparently, I feel.
Because we can't seem to find a film noir.
I feel like it's more of like a short format, 30-minute kind of thing. Because I don't think you can make a successful. Well, I'll take that back. You probably can do it in a movie form. No, I haven't seen it.
I think you can, and I think we can find one. We haven't been able to do it yet.
Yeah. And like, this wasn't bad.
No.
Like you said, it does have all the tropes because it does set up the blueprint to how to make these movies.
Yeah, like, you have the partner that kills off in the first 30 seconds, and
the femme fatale who's like so melodramatic, you can't read her.
Right, you can't read her, and ends up being the culprit at the end that caused everything.
Red herring after red herring. There's a chase. There's a hunt. There's everything in this.
Yeah, it's all there, and but it's so predictable by today's standards that you can literally tell where the plot's going from just the scenes that they're setting up.
Yes, and I tried my damnedest to put myself into the 1940s mindset of this being fresh and new. But like I said, I've seen this in like kids television shows, adult television shows, comics, like you said. But like I've seen this format done to death, and I enjoy this format.
Right, the format's fine, and this is apparently where it started, at least as far as movies go.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think it's a film noir. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's more of like a murder mystery.
Yeah, it's definitely a murder mystery. Like it's there, but the character just doesn't like. I think what makes the film noir is the main character, and I don't think this character makes it. I mean,
the tone for the movie is too uplifting and too da 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 instead of being like suspenseful and like da da da.
Here's the thing. I did not like the main character. I thought he was a dick.
Yes.
And you're not supposed to like film noir characters, but there's a reason for it, and he never gave you a reason for it.
He was just quick-witted.
He was always came out on top. Nothing.
Yes.
There was never any struggle for him.
Yes.
Even when he does a flip out somewhere in the movie, it's like, oh, that was planned.
Yep.
He did that purposely. It's like
he can always disarm the bad guy. So whenever he's in quote unquote danger, like he's not in danger.
There was one scene that I liked where Patrick Lorre, who the hell's Patrick Lorre? Peter Lorre's character comes in and holds him up with his office, and
I love
then he does take him out, but then he gives him back his gun. He says, "Okay, now I'm going to hold you." That was probably the best scene in the movie. But
yeah, like the acting and the actors and actresses were great in this.
I mean, they were fine.
Yeah,
but
they were great.
You could tell that they're being restricted by bullshit rules that you know.
You want to get I feel like it's definitely a first time directing, which kind of didn't hurt. He did a great job at this as a first time director. Great job. But also, like you said, the rules. You want to talk about those a little bit? Because we did some
research, but like we talked about it last time with Notorious too.
Yeah, but we never talked about like what were the limitations, like the don'ts to be careful. Do you want to name any of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about the Hays Code, obviously, and it's just we read more into it.
Just for a little bit of background, in 1915, the Supreme Court decided that movies were not free speech in America.
For good reasons, though, because they were kind of wary because crazy things were happening in Hollywood and around the world at the time.
Doesn't matter. Free speech is not negotiable, whether it's good reason or not. Because if you say we could do it for a good reason, then you can do it for any reason.
I'm going to agree because I'm not trying to get into a 20-minute debate like we always do. So yes, because at the end of the debate, I'm going to agree with you. So let's just bypass all that. I'm going to say, yes, you're correct.
I'm just saying, I mean, you can say whatever you want, no matter how vile or disgusting it is. But, you know, there are consequences to your actions. But you have the right to say it. And people have the right to hate you for saying it.
Yes.
So that's what free speech is all about. Anyway. So, I mean, we're already kind of dived into it. Neither one of us has trailers because we streamed this. So, Go ahead, Marcus. Take us into the movie.
Fuck. Oh, did you want to talk any more about the Hays Code or no?
Oh, right, we were doing that.
Yeah, free speech. You were on the free speech rant.
Yeah, I was on the free speech rant. All right, so the Hays Code. I'll just go through the 11 don'ts that you're not allowed to do with the Hays Code, and because there's about 26 kind of don'ts, but we'll just go through the 11 ridiculous ones that they are definitely not allowed to do. Some of them are contradictory to the others, but whatever.
And to be fair, like you said off screen, they did this because each state was trying to do its own thing.
Yeah, each state was trying to, and because of the Supreme Court's stupid decision, which the Supreme Court makes a lot of stupid decisions.
And what was the decision? I don't think you said what the decision was.
Yes, I did. They made it so that movies were not covered under free speech.
Okay.
I don't know how they were able to do that because bullshit.
Well, 1920 something.
Yeah, but anyway. So, the 11 don'ts of the Hays Code. You're not allowed to use pointed profanity by either title or lip. This includes the words God, Lord, Jesus Christ, unless they are used reverently in connection with proper religious ceremonies. Hell, SOB, damn God, and every other profane and vulgar expression, however it may spell. See what the problem is right off the bat with this?
Yeah.
Now, I'm bringing it up. This was overturned in 1952, I think I said, because of the separation of church and state, which, you know, duh. Anyway.
Oh, what's that supposed to mean, TJ?
That we have a constitutional right to be secular, not to be oppressed by Catholic surreal law.
What? I'm not doing devil's advocate. Okay, you're right. Okay.
Number 2, you're not allowed to have any licentious or suggestive nudity in fact or in silhouette, which is stupid. It's not nudity if it's a silhouette.
Yeah, anyway, but they didn't want to see people bumping and grinding in silhouette because it's suggestive.
The way I got it is that
they don't want to see a guy with an erection in silhouette form.
That's not what I got it. It's like, even like, you know how they used to do silhouettes of ladies changing?
Yeah,
even that was like, no.
I get it. It's like they were trying to think of every way how people would try to cheat it. Like, you can't do that either. So I get why they said it.
In fact or silhouette, and any lecherous or licentious notice thereof by other characters in the picture. So therefore, you're not allowed to have nudity, and you're not allowed to have people liking that there is nudity.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of your body, man.
Anyway, the illegal traffic in drugs, which I'm not even going to get into that argument, whatever. An inference of sex perversion. I don't even know what that means, but okay.
I had no idea at all.
This one,
I guess, like, yeah, I don't know.
like inference is to like infer, like to like
Yeah, but
to sex perversion.
maybe he's
But
like, oh, I had sex with my wife last night or some shit like that, I guess.
I guess
Or like, hey, did you guys make your maritals? You're trying for kids or anything like that? I guess it could be something like that.
just why didn't they just say sex perversion in any of its forms? It's like stupid. Anyway, this next one's really confusion. White slavery.
Yeah.
Which A means it's okay to do black slavery. Because
Yeah.
that's nowhere in here. Because regular slavery is not like outlawed, but white slavery in particular. But if you hover over white slavery on the wiki page, it says sexual slavery. So it's trafficking, human trafficking, essentially.
Yeah. Well, human trafficking of white women. If you human traffic Asians, it's fine, guys. Just not white women.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, only white people are not allowed to be slaves.
It was particularly associated with accounts of women enslaved in Middle Eastern harems, such as so-called Circassian beauties.
What?
Circassian.
Circassian. Not seeing the word.
If you hover over the white slavery, is that first paragraph.
Is an attachment of ownership right over one or more peoples with the intent of coercion or otherwise forcing them to engage. It includes the forced labor that results in the sexual activity, forced marriage, and such. Oh, it cuts off from after that.
Doesn't matter.
I guess you want me to go into it?
No, it does not matter. Yeah. The phrase gradually came to be used as euphemism for prostitution. Oh,
yeah,
look at that.
Oh, what's the word? Courtesan. It's based off of that. So
okay.
It's like, but I think you're right. I think it's Circassian.
Oh, the phrase was especially common in the context of the exploitation of minors. Oh, look at that. When you read, it explains things, guys, with the implication that children and young women in such circumstances were not free to decide their own. Okay. Gross. White slavery. Huh. See history, guys. It's so fun learning things. It's also depressing.
Right. The next word we couldn't figure out how to say, so we needed to use Wiki to tell us how to say it, and it is miscegenation,
which is
why am I blanking on the goddamn word?
Mixed race.
Mixed race. Marriage and or just relationships.
Yeah, mostly black and white at the time.
Yeah, so you can't have a black person with a white person.
No.
Unacceptable. This next one seems unsafe and unclean. So you can't talk about sexual hygiene or venereal diseases.
Well, that's still a thing nowadays, and people still try not to talk about it, so...
Yeah, but it's not outlawed.
Depends on where you're at, I guess, right? Some schools are like, you can't talk about this. And like, we probably should talk about the kids, man, because they're all doing the thing.
Let me rephrase. It's not outlawed in movies.
Okay, yeah, because this is very, very prominent nowadays. Hell, when I start editing this, it's probably back in the news for all we know.
Anyway, take care of yourself, people.
Yeah, please.
Scenes of actual childbirth in fact or silhouettes. Like the most natural thing in the fucking world. You think they would want that more?
Yeah, but you're seeing a lady's body part.
You do it from the side.
Yeah, but it's gross. People don't want to see
they don't even show it really in movies this day. They just show the from the back or whatever.
People are screaming. There's a lot of noise and
whatever. So the next two are complete opposites. One I agree with, one I don't.
Do you agree with the first one? I'm kidding.
So don't show children sex organs. Duh.
Yeah.
Why would you? And then the next one is complete and utter garbage. Ridicule of the clergy. They need to be ridiculed.
Whoa. They are men of God.
I'd like to touch little boys. That's why they didn't follow the first one. Anyway.
Allegedly. No, it's all.
Not allegedly at all. Anyway, the last one, which contradicts literally almost everything else in here.
Not if you think of it in the white perspective, TJ.
Not allowed to willfully offend any nation, race, or creed. What? You kind of just contradict that with white slavery.
Now that we know what white slavery is, child and female sex trafficking, there's no race talk in any of these besides...
That is not the
there's no race talk in these things besides marrying blacks. Right?
Anyway, whatever.
It's kind of
But the willful of... they contradict each other. You're not allowed to talk about suggestive and nudity and sex and stuff in the don'ts, but in the be carefuls, you're not allowed. You can maybe, but you have to be careful. Talk about prostitution, rape. It's like, well, okay.
I figured the be careful is like the amendments. Like the first don'ts are like, okay, here's what we want, and like, okay, maybe it can go later.
But the definite don'ts counteract the maybes. It's like the maybes are already under the don'ts. nuts.
The sale of a woman or woman selling for her virtue is one of the maybes.
But like,
Yeah.
for instance, the inference of sex perversion, they consider you prostitution, sex, what is the fucking word? Sex perversion. Prostitution is sex perversion in their eyes. So is rape. So that would be.
You there?
I just saw Brandon of people or animals.
Yeah.
Like people I get, but like that's how they decide. That's how they decide ownership in animals.
Yeah, but animal rights activists and
in what, the 20s? They like killed animals religiously back then.
Yeah, but like they would care more about animals than humans. TJ, okay?
And arson, really?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to write criminals if they can't commit crimes?
TJ, you have to allude to it, man. Assess for or lustful kissing, practically when one character or the other is a heavy.
Particularly, not practically.
I'm sorry, as a heavy.
A heavy is a lackey, essentially for a leader.
Oh, of course, they're against the gays and the LGBTQ, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean, homosexuality falls under sexual perversion. So,
actual hangings or electrocutions as legal punishment for crime. That's a maybe.
Like, this is stupid. Like back to how are you supposed to write criminals if they can't do bad things? Because you can't under be careful with theft, robbery, safecracking, and dynamite of trains, mines, buildings, etc. It's like every Western ever.
Yep. You can't have a male and a female in a bed together, even if they're just cuddling and laying.
Hold on. I don't understand this. After all those things I just said, it says, having in mind the effect which a too detailed description of these may have upon the moron.
Wait, what?
It says, be careful of using theft, robbery, safecracking, and dynamite on trains, mines, buildings, etc. And then in parentheses after it says, you keep this in mind that it would have the effect of the mind of someone who is a moron.
Oh.
So stupid people.
Yes, that's great.
So you have to be careful with these because stupid people might go do these things.
Yes. It's a warning label. Hey, some moron's going to see this. We don't try to influence them. See, warning labels always existed, guys.
So, like, methods of smuggling is in here. And this whole movie's about smuggling.
Uh-huh.
Stupid.
But yeah, that's the Hays Code for the most.
Surgical operations.
Yeah, it's gruesome. You don't want to see someone's organs getting cut out because it's got cancer or something life-saving. Who knows?
What the hell is first night scenes?
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't know what that was. First night scenes.
In many traditions of statutes of civil rights and religious law, the consummation of marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best. What's the institution of marriage?
What's the institution of marriage?
Number 22. Like, what the f*** is that supposed to mean?
Oh, not to be careful on how you use the institution of marriage and undermine its kind of its status, even though it's bullshit anyway. But whatever.
Whoa! What's bullshit about marriage?
It's just a piece of paper.
But like, how you get up in arms about that, TJ?
How do you get in arms about that? Because people are freaking stupid. They care about who people want to be with. Who gives a shit?
Well, it's always been male and female.
No, it really hasn't.
In America, it has been.
I can guarantee you that Native Americans did not do that.
Okay, I'm sorry. And the proper civilized white America, it's always been.
And I could probably guarantee you there was a few people before.
Yeah, but they're not in God's eye.
Before, even after the Constitution, that some of those 1,700 supposedly religious people slept with an animal or two.
Yeah, they're either burning in hell where they should be. Yeah. I'm sorry.
How many of those people who wrote that thing raped their slaves?
Well, slaves are property. You can do whatever you want with them because you own them. Oh, TJ, come on. God said I can own slave.
I'm just saying. It's the institution of marriage they have defiled plenty of times on their own. Even if you're right. Let's just say you're right.
I'm not. But sure, yeah.
So it's just for the sake of argument that slaves are property, you can do whatever you want with them. It still goes against your marital vows that you're being unfaithful by doing that.
How? It's not a person, it's a thing. Because remember, they dehumanize the shit out of slaves, so they're not people.
Doesn't matter. It says unfaithful. Whether they're objects or animals, they're still it's still being unfaithful.
Well, if the object, I'm like a f***ing animal, but the object I have, I'm practicing for my wife, that's all. Or husband, whatever the situation may be, but I'm practicing for my significant other.
No, you were right. It's wife, because women wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah, if they were found getting pounded by a slave, they're like, whoa, let's kill this guy, and they question her what happened.
They would murder the slave, and then they'd beat the wife.
Unless she was saying rape, because she would clearly yell rape in that situation if she got found out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and they would have to believe her.
Yeah,
I'm not going to question the white lady.
Yeah, just hang the slave.
Yep.
It's who cares?
And that black baby comes out, you pit up the worker, you just throw it into a river or something. Now this is dark.
All right, let's get to the movie.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Maltese Falcon, guys. Let's say no.
How the movie open up, Marcus?
Oh,
we always do
shit.
that.
How did it open up? Good question. Scroll back.
She walks. Doesn't she walk into the office?
Yeah, it's okay. Why do I have to think about it? It starts off as any other goddamn procedural slash noir. The main actor, the main guy, is sitting in his office, and the damsel walks in. I need your help. I have this thing you got to help me with.
That she lies about.
Yep. He goes to help her with it, finds out she's lying about the thing. I would know what she wanted to in the first place, but the main lady's just like constantly like, oh, you caught me in my lie, here's another layer to my lie. Oh, you caught me in that, here's another layer to it, until she finally gets the truth 40 minutes, an hour 40 into it. But she wants him to help her find something?
Well, no, she hired him to tell her partner, who she helped steal the Falcon with.
But does she say that in the beginning?
No, she says she hires him because her sister ran away with this guy, and that she was afraid that this guy would kill her sister, and he wanted him to go get her sister away from the guy and bring her home.
Yes, everything you just said. So that.
But that was all lies. There's no sister.
Yeah. Like I said, a ghost. This movie felt long.
You know, you say that a lot of times, but I don't get that feeling when I watch these movies. I don't feel like they're long because I don't feel like anything happens in them.
That's why this one felt long to me, because it felt long because like you said, like you were calling all the shots. I've seen this movie 1,000 times.
Yeah,
even though it's
like,
my first time seeing it, so I was like, okay, I get where this is going. Let's just get to the goddamn thing.
I guess I had the same problem I did with Notorious. Yeah. I'm waiting for something to happen.
So you're going in waiting for the thing to happen to become
I'm going in there, even as I'm calling it. Even I'm calling for things. I'm waiting for the thing that usually leads to happen, and then it skips over that to the next thing that is predictable, and I'm like, I'm just constantly waiting for something to happen, and it's like I don't feel it being long. Because it's like, where's the movie?
I envy that because I'm watching the movie and thinking, okay, let's get to the point. So now it's going to end up at. So I envy you, man. That's great. So yeah, she's like, hey, help me do the thing. He's got his partner, and they go to kind of do the thing. They split up. His partner gets killed, and some other guy gets killed. The main guy gets accused of killing these guys.
Yeah,
by some FBI agent.
Of course, no, I think it's just local police.
Yeah, local police, and again, it's all. It's as usual.
Like, of course, he's going to be blamed. Now he's got to solve it because the police are after him. So it's,
Exactly.
It's the basis of like every movie like this ever.
So he's running around trying to prove himself, but also trying to figure out why is this lady coming to me and what she's talking about, because he knows she's lying. He's not a dimwit. He gets everything that's going on. And we get to introduce more characters. We get to Cairo, who is also in on, hey, I'm looking for the thing that the Gray's looking for.
Cairo was working for somebody else.
So did I, right?
Yeah, because he came in and said, I'll offer you $10,000 for the Maltese Falcon, and then he brings up the fat man's in town to the girl.
Yeah.
So I thought
she brought it up to him. He was like, "Oh, he's here."
Yeah. But I thought he was working for someone else, considering how much money he was willing to pay.
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense.
Yes. Oh, your issue with the movie. Did you want to
My issue with the movie? The plot not hole? Yet.
Okay.
The big plot hole is the partner's wife.
The partner's wife, the one that keeps on flirting with the guy.
The guy that was supposed to. She comes in and asks Humphrey Bogart's character if he killed her so he could be with her.
Yes.
And then we get her 2 or 3 more times throughout the movie, and then she just vanishes with no tying up with the story, no nothing. What was her entire character was superfluous, and she didn't need to be in this movie at all.
Well, she was to put a seed of doubt to the audience, like, oh, did he have them killed for her?
She was a red herring. She was definitely a red herring
for the audience, not for the characters.
Yeah, but it's like they didn't even have a scene where they confronted her about it.
No.
So it's like they tied nothing up with her, and then after she's not even in the last hour.
Yeah, I've realized that. She's like, I was waiting for her to come back in because I felt like they tie up everything else at the end of it besides her thing. Yeah.
Yeah, she just disappears from the movie. It's like, okay, then why we even have her in the movie?
Yeah, I thought I missed something, so that's why I wrote it off. But okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, and when you were going through the names, I was like, wait a minute, that's right, that person was in there.
Unless they probably did say something like just quickly under the radar, which I didn't pick up on.
Like she was
Because I remember her coming back in late, like somewhere halfway, maybe
Like-
third act, coming in for a hot second.
No, what's even more strange is, like, at one point Humphrey Bogart's character sends his assistant to her house, and then the assistant comes back and tells Humphrey Bogart she just got home. She was like dressed and stuff, as if she was out doing something. But that never comes back either. I think they mention it later, but you would think she was like out doing something, but she wasn't doing anything relevant to the story.
Not at all.
So it's literally just a red herring for a red herring's sake.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, you can cut this whole character out and it affects the story not at all.
I don't think you would cut. I don't think I would cut her out. I would definitely keep her there for the red herring's sake, but I would finish her off.
No, you would have
write it out properly.
But I'm just saying, as she stands, if you cut her out, it doesn't affect the movie.
Yes.
So you either have to flesh out that character more, or just cut it out completely, because it feels like it was like a storyline that was just cut.
Well, I mean, can you say the same thing about Cairo's character?
No, because Cairo is a lackey, essentially.
Okay.
He's just literally there to...
He's in the same vein as the other dumb character that shows up in the other act where...
Yeah, but he's just an obstacle for Humphrey Bogart to overcome.
I guess, yeah.
And that's fine. It's what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Where was I?
I don't know.
Characters introduced for red herring's sakes. He's just going. This is just Humphrey Bogart trying to figure out
explain what the plot. Just explain what everything is about. Like what this whole thing is about.
Yeah. He's trying to figure out why she's lying to him, what she's came for. She came for because she's trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out where the Maltese Falcon is, which is a old artifact which is worth buku bucks.
Man, they really went into they really fleshed out the backstory.
Yes,
of the Maltese Falcon.
At the beginning of the movie, we start off with like a rolling scroll of here's the history of the Maltese Falcon. Okay, great rolling scroll.
Yeah, it's like,
and then the characters each tell you why that thing is important, and reiterate that rolling scroll.
So I mean, if you're curious, it's just the Knight Templars. If you know who they are, they are Templars or Crusaders from, I want to say, the 1300s. Like if you remember the war with Jerusalem, trying to take Jerusalem, the First Crusade, essentially. Yes. They were given an island by the King of Spain, and to pay him back, he wanted the treasure of a falcon or some stupid reason.
Let me read it.
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
In 1953, the Knights Templars of Malta paid tribute to Charles V of Spain by sending him a golden falcon encrusted from beak to claw with rarest jewels. But pirates seized the galley carrying the priceless token, and the fate of the Maltese Falcon remains a mystery to this day.
Yeah, that's the little thing. But the reason why they needed it was a stupid reason that the king asked for payment. It was the abundance of a falcon or some garbage like that. And essentially the boat was captured by pirates and stolen.
Which is, I wouldn't mind seeing that origin.
No, that would have been a better story.
Yeah. If they could have made that story before the Hays Code was enacted, I would love to see it. And then this be the sequel? Sure. But this is still a good story, TJ, because all in all, they figure out, okay, so there's that whole switcheroo at the end.
Here's my problem with this movie. Yeah. And I had the same problem with the last movie.
Too much talking.
It's just a bunch of scenes of a bunch of people talking in a room.
Yes. And it sounds like we're being ignorant cavemen saying that, but it really, and by the time he shows some set pieces doing things, I don't care about the ship being underwater. I don't care about these things.
Wait, the ship being underwater?
There's a ship that's
There's a fire on a ship that they don't even go into. They get... Humphrey Bogart goes there, and the ship's on fire, and he's like, I know someone in there. He's like, and the guy's like, everyone got out, everything's fine. And then Humphrey Bogart's like, okay, and just walks away.
Yeah. It's like, no, I want to see that.
And here's another thing. He gets a phone call from the girl, and she's like, she screams, and there's a shot or something. And then later we show a guy walking in. I don't know who that dead guy was who walked in.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know who he was.
Yeah, it's like, who's this person?
I don't know. He was dead holding the falcon. He delivers it to it. But they show all that all that happened. All the action happens off screen. Yes. While we have to listen to Humphrey Bogart talk to his assistant in the phone and explain in detail how she's got to explain to the police what's going on, but leaving out the things that not to. It's like
it's all the like, hey, you should show, don't tell kind of things. Like, I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
it's definitely there's definitely a all tell no show problem.
But like, this could have been done better if they could do it this way, but like more like intense, more suspense to it. Well, I guess it's first time. It's like the first thing. I get it, but like we're just so spoiled by today's standards. It's hard to be like.
And like I can watch a movie of people just sitting in a room talking if it's interesting.
Yes, and this was not interesting.
It's just not.
No. And again, maybe because we know where it's going, we just like okay.
Maybe. And I mean, some scenes are interesting when they're in there, but it's just when the whole movie's consistent of that, it's like, oh, you got to give me something here.
And there's plenty of films that were made today's standards that are just people talking. Carnage, Roman Polanski film. Great movie. A disaster movie. Or the movie is called Disaster. Another movie where people are just in the room talking and just going through life. I enjoy films like that. So like I can stand that kind of shit. This was just
and like I said, and there's I said earlier, there's another problem with Humphrey Bogart's character is just not likable, and he's such a know-it-all, and it's just like she at one point I remember the main actress, this femme fatale, getting up and like poke at a fire and awkwardly look over the book, and he says, "Ha! Look at that! It's you trying to fool me with that." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
She barely did anything."
Yes,
I'm like, this is stupid.
And then she crumbles like a house of cards. Like, "Oh, you got me. Well, let me try telling you another lie." Like, oh my god, it's very much like the audience are idiots. Here, we're going to tell you and show you everything.
Yeah,
it's like, and again, that's the Hays Code limiting this movie.
Right, and again, I am not knocking the actors or actresses at all. They were fine. They were just given nothing to work with.
Yes. And
like this movie got nominated for 3 awards, and any of the acting ones I would agree with.
Yes, and this was it's still held to high regards. I don't know why. Like it's a fine movie. It's a very fine movie.
I get it because it established
a genre,
and the tropes that everybody uses to this day. Yes. It's a defining movie, so I get the accolades. But the movie on its own, like I get its legacy is important, but like watching it now, it's just with all its limitations, it's just not really worth it.
No, and I hate saying that. I really, again, it's the whole like how we want to give Notorious a better rating because you feel guilty giving this such a like mid-tier, like it's okay,
it's fine.
You could watch it. Like I was watching this, I was thinking like this is great basis to have for what we're doing. It's good to have this. Like okay, it's like these are fundamentals we need in our thing.
You know what's this is like this is not a movie you sit down and review.
No.
This is a movie that you have on in the background while you're doing work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is a movie that you just have on that just, you tune in every once in a while and then you go about doing whatever else you're doing. Yes. It's a fine movie for that.
Or it's a film, like if you're in film school or whatever the case may be, it's a movie you do take notes on because it does. Like as a blueprint for a lot of things, so it's good to have the knowledge of this film and why it's important and why it exists. So,
but tearing it apart in a review setting like we are, it just doesn't hold up to what it should.
Again, it's not a bad movie.
It's not. No. It really isn't. It's just not fantastic.
Yeah, it does not. It does not hold up.
And so when you're told the movie's fantastic and you don't get fantastic, it hurts a movie.
When you see it always being AFI's top 5 or 10, and then you watch it, it's like, well,
to be fair, I've always heard the name of this movie, but I never had any expectations of it. I didn't know how prestigious it was going into this.
I have nothing but the highest expectations for this damn movie. It's been on my list for years.
This is like I honestly haven't like until you were like we were going to cover this as a film noir movie. It was like, oh okay. I mean, I heard the name before, but that was about it. That was the extent of it.
Yeah, this telling of the story makes me want to see the other one because the other one's pre-Hays. I'm not going to watch it because it is pre-Hays Codes. I want to see it. Is like, what's the difference? Like, how different could that one have been? Out of curiosity,
I don't know.
But we're not doing that for the review show at all.
But it's funny. It's like I can even when I do review comics. The difference between 30s and 40s is night and day.
It is.
It's like, my God, just reviewing Batman comics. In the 1930s, Batman was shooting vampires in caskets.
Uh-huh.
And now in the 40s, he's like running around beating no-name bad guys
Yeah.
to do nothing.
It's just like wow.
Because the comics had the Comic Codes Authority, just like the movies had the Hays Code, which was and the Comic Code Authority is worse because you couldn't have things like vampires and supernatural stuff in it.
It's crazy.
Stupid. It's like, what are you talking about?
Well, I get it because these codes existed because the world was so different, and like they're trying to course correct.
I guess,
shit
but
still, going on, but they went too far the safe way.
Again, like if you look at historical context, you know why the world was f***ed up in the 20s?
Why?
Because they did stupid things to make it lead to that. Like, of course, if you're going to ban alcohol, it's going to lead to prohibition. That leads to prohibition. You're going to get gangsters smuggling hooch.
Well, first off, hindsight. Second off, like they probably knew that, but they probably don't want to address it, or probably couldn't. So, like, okay, let's try everything else besides addressing the main problem.
Like, you can say hindsight, but we have that same problem these days with drugs.
That's what I'm saying. We all know the hindsight, and again, we know hindsight, but we can't address it now.
They have hindsight from, I'm sure, plenty of
for sure.
And then on top of that, because if our American capitalistic stupid ideals, they had the Great Depression.
Yes.
So of course it's going to be, you have prohibition on top of the Great Depression. Of course things are going to get out of control.
Yes.
And it's all their fault. And so they were like, now we're going to pull back and course correct. And then they overcorrect in the opposite direction, learning nothing from the previous thing.
And it's happening now. It's going to happen in the future. It's the pendulum, man. It has to swing to the left and to the right.
Stupid.
It'll be in the middle for a little bit. And it'll be in that sweet spot until it swings the other way. And, it's just how it is. It's shitty. I hate it. Because you think we would, as a species, as a smart species, that we always should see this shit and should know. Maybe we should keep doing the dumb things we're doing. But anyways, Maltese Falcon. It ends with, Humphrey Bogart finds the thing, the Maltese Falcon. It's a whole charade of like, I don't have it, but I have it kind of thing, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Characters disperse, he has the money.
The whole climax of this movie is Humphrey Bogart, the femme fatale, and all the bad guys sitting in a room talking and waiting for daytime so he can go call his assistant to pick up a statue.
Which could have been great. Which could have been suspenseful and fantastic. Like you said, if this movie was to be remade modern day, it'd be
I'm just going to say, this movie, they could have done the suspension there, but when I see 3 people asleep on couches, it's like, okay, it's like, hey, why? Half you guys are against each other with guns. And it's like, one of them they're about to turn over to the police, and it's just like, what are you doing? This is stupid.
It's very cartoonish.
And to see Peter Lorre in a chair, just pretending to sleep in a chair, like, it's stupid.
It's very, you got to be like, okay, this is happening. This is a movie. Yeah. Ridiculous. But a movie, it's a movie. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's not a film noir movie, which we were supposed to cover, but whatever.
It's not what we expected. That's all. It's a film noir. It's the first film noir. Or one of the firsts.
I think it inspired film noirs. That's about as much as I'm willing to give it.
It's a blueprint.
Yeah, I'm not going to classify it as a film noir. I refuse.
I will, I guess, because it evolved over. It's a film noir, I guess. Although there was no monologue or voiceover, there's no.
It doesn't have any of the things that make it really a film noir.
The lighting wasn't as harsh as I wanted it to be.
Like the style's missing from it.
Yeah, like I said, it's too upbeat. It's not melodramatic and
I think the style is what really makes it film noir.
I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah. Yeah. Ratings. What are you going to give this, TJ?
I can't give it any more or any less than a 5.
God damn it. I agree. Because it's not bad. Not bad.
It's not bad. No. It's fine.
It's a fine movie.
I feel like we're justifying our fines. We have to, every time we say fine, we're justifying.
It's because I want people to know that it's not a bad, because a 5 is not a bad thing always. It's a fine, watchable, digestible, okay movie. I get why it has its place in history.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just. I'll say this right now. I've been kissing Casablanca's ass for forever. That came out the year after, and it's like, that movie's amazing. It holds up to me still because I saw it a year ago and it still holds up. So I don't know, man.
We'll have to see how it holds up under scrutiny, honestly.
What do you mean? You want to review Casablanca one of these days?
I mean, we can. It's just, it's different when you're reviewing it.
But I'm always reviewing movies, even though I'm not reviewing. So I
know, but I think you have a fanboy thing going into
I
Casablanca.
don't think so. So like, if you come in, if we somehow do watch this movie and review it one day,
I'll be honest with you, I'm going into Casablanca blind.
as you should, yeah. If you come out
Like, no, literally blind. I don't think I know anything about that movie.
Perfectly
Only that
fine.
it's only that it is like one of the movies
Yeah.
that is held up. That's about
and
it.
you come out hating the damn movie, I don't care. I will still be a defender because I fucking love it. I love it. But we're not talking about Casablanca. So Maltese Falcon, we both give it a fine 5, I guess.
Fine vibe.
That's sad. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Now that we did it, it's done.